is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome. India has just won its first test in New Zealand in 33 years after earlier winning its first ever one-day series here. The cricket has been hard-fought and intense, but as competitive and aggressive as the Indians have been on the field, we can assure you it's not been a case of all work and no play. Take a look.
Yeah, it's one of the places that you can definitely go, if you have just got married.
No, my son would love it here. The place is beautiful and the people are also very nice. There's more sheep than people.
Nobody's troubling us.
I'm standing underneath the tallest freestanding structure in the southern hemisphere. I've always been a complete adrenaline junkie. Now, without giving too much away, what I'm about to do is extremely daring. Some people might think I'm stupid, but hey, what's life without a little fun and excitement, right? So here we are at the Sky Tower, a landmark of Auckland City, one that literally pushes you to live life on the edge. As we enter the tower, we bump into the Indian cricketers who are here simply as tourists. But try telling their fans that. Now most people come to this tower to do the sky jump, but not the cricketers since they're not allowed to for fear of injury. So on the day, I'm one up on the cricketers because while they can't jump, I certainly can. The concept of this jump is exactly the same as the one stuntmen use in the movies, strapped to a harness and suspended from cables. All set, and I'm not nervous at all. As we reach the top of the tower, waiting in line before us are the cricketers once again. They're doing the next best thing to the sky jump, a skywalk along the top of the tower.
How are you feeling?
Excited.
Have you
Raring to go.
Have you done anything like this before?
Never. It's the first time.
What are they?
Experience. I'm scared.
I'm scared too.
What do you think could possibly...
I'm ready for it. No, we want to go home now. We got a game tomorrow, We want to play, so we want to go home.
But I'm signed up for something far more exciting. The Lonely Planet guide described this as one of the best places to jump off of, and you can see why. It's the most magnificent, spectacular view. It's 192 meters, like I said before, and I really cannot wait to go down that bending. And then I jump, floating momentarily above Auckland City and then descending at 83 kilometers an hour. I'm greeted at the bottom by bowling coach Venkatesh Prasad, who's landed just before me. So that was over much quicker than I thought. Let's get this straight. It was 11 seconds and I came down 52 floors. But you know what? It's really not as scary as people think it may be. With Jerry Bhandarkar and Nikhil Naz in Auckland, Anjali Doshi for NDTV. So they may not be able to do the really scary rush of blood stuff, but that's hardly the point. At a time when there's so much focus on the security of cricketers, this series has been an aberration of sorts. Perhaps the tone for this very relaxed environment was set at the very start of the tournament, when the Indians had a very casual meeting in Parliament with the Kiwi Prime Minister.
The rock stars in suits. This was a day trip to the New Zealand Parliament for the Indian cricket team. But it wasn't like any other head of state meeting these guys would have attended. This one had a comparison of a state of heads. They even got a taste of their own cuisine and their choice of beverage as well. All alongside one of their biggest film stars. And the man running the country even had a few jokes to throw around.
Made the fatal mistake of telling my son that the Black Caps and the Indian cricket team were in town today. We live in Auckland, so it wasn't quite possible for him to come. He then came and gave me a list of the names of players on both sides that he wants an autograph from. So guys, particularly MS and Daniel, if I end up coming up and asking for your autograph, trust me, it's not for me, it's for my son.
No word yet on how many signatures Prime Minister Key was able to collect, but we do know this: his scrapbook campaign wasn't able to take care of the other problem related to his son.
I come home from a function with my wife and he's still up watching the cricket. So those tight finishes have made for some sleepless nights in our household.
MSD's always ready for a throwdown on the pitch. How'd he fare in Parliament?
As far as Mr. Prime Minister is concerned, sir, me and Daniel will just talk to our respective teams and we'll ask them not to take the game till the last over or the last few overs so that we can take a bit of tension away from you.
In fact, for the touring Indians, tension, or rather the lack of it, seems to be the key in or outside the Parliament. Yuvraj Singh, like all his teammates, has looked completely stress-free wherever he's gone. And just when was the last time Sachin could go for a walk on a whim? This is one country where cricketers aren't treated like demigods, and so the fans don't exactly mob you. Unless you're Joshua Kirsten and you count one of the world's best cricketers in your list of best friends. And even though he's the son of a very accomplished batsman in Gary Kirsten, clearly young Joshua knows just whose trade secrets he'd rather learn.
So Sachin Tendulkar chose to spend some time relaxing with Gary Kirsten's son after India won their first ever one-day series here. Some of his other teammates like Rahul Dravid, VVS Lakshman and Mahendra Singh Dhoni found other ways to switch off just before the intensity of the test series would take over.
Some like to hit the high seas while others prefer the more sedate pace of fishing. You could be a rock-solid batsman or a stylish one. It's hard to resist the outdoors, especially in the adventure capital of the world. Test specialists Dravid, Lakshman and L. Balaji chose to go sailing on the day, clearly a new experience for many of them.
No, first time.
मैं पहले गया हूँ.
तो कैसा experience था?
So lovely experience. Looking forward to it.
Several miles away, two brave souls ventured out to New Zealand's fourth largest island. 240 years after the famous English explorer Captain James Cook put the Great Barrier Island on the world map, MS Dhoni and Gary Kirsten had found their way there for a spot of fishing. Back on the high seas, the test team was being tested in quite a different manner. Clearly, they were as comfortable with the port and starboard sides as they are with the leg and offsides. And so enchanted was the Indian cricket team with the natural beauty surrounding them that they've decided to come back, but not with each other.
Once I get married, I'll love to bring my wife or my other half. It's one of the places that you can definitely go, if you just got married.
For the moment though, MSD had to make do with the company of young Joshua Kirsten, who seemed to have got his hands on the largest catch of the day. But on the day, it didn't matter. This was Team India's perfect day out, in perfect surroundings and after some near-perfect victories on the field.
It's not only about cricket, it's a long tour for us, 48 days, and it's a beautiful place, So we thought this is the best opportunity that we would get. I don't know whether I'll come to New Zealand again or not. So sightseeing, fishing,
anything from sailing. Overall, you know, when it comes to beauty, it's one of the most beautiful places I've been to.
The NDTV crew in New Zealand can vouch for just how beautiful this country is. Over the past month, we've travelled the length and breadth of it. But to know more on what I'm talking about, you'll just have to come back after this break.
At your service anytime, anywhere. Smart Drive private car insurance policy from Bharti AXA General Insurance.
Drive me crazy. Introducing Suzuki GS 150R. Stunning looks. Raw power. Suzuki GS 150R.
हम एक कमरा और ना ले लें?
तुम्हें क्यों मारूंगा जान?
तू कौन है?
क्या मैं वो नहीं जो तुम चाहती हो?
हमारी कामना में इतनी ताकत होती है कि वो इंसानी रूप धार के हमारी जिंदगी में दाखिल हो सकती है।
Amul Light. The only thing it's rich in is taste.
भूख से पगला गए? New Britannia Nutri Choice, loaded with 5-grain goodness. भूख भगाओ, कुछ healthy खाओ. Britannia Nutri Choice.
Presenting the widest range of notebook PCs from Toshiba. There's one just right for you.
My favorite? This one. Feel quality. Feel Toshiba. इस पुराने कैमरे में ऐसी क्या खास बात है? तुम्हारे पास जो कुछ भी है इस कैमरे की वजह से।
वक्त की बात है और मेरा वक्त बदल रहा है।
मैं खत्म तो खेल खत्म।
Getting along? Oh, good यार. Expanding a little. Want to see? Close by आएगा.
New scooter, right ही चलिए.
चलो.
Expanding garage? कैसे?
ओए सिंपल. Turnover तभी बढ़ सकता है जब production full हो. ओए तेरी.
Production? Turnover?
हाँ. And so to increase capacity, I took business loan from India Bulls, and by God, turnover एकदम आसमान छूने लगा. ओए अत्थे. We made some changes here and there. जगह कम पड़ रही थी यार. We're expanding that side.
Fast and easy business loans from India Bulls.
Oh, if all goes right, I'm planning to launch my own brand of scooter.
उफ, अब क्या होगा? कितनी कराई थे पानी फिर गया. मैच कैंसिल. कुनूर चले for one night. कितनी दूर है?
5 hour drive. और बोलो.
इतनी जल्दी होटल मिलेगा क्या? ग्रैंडपा का होटल है क्या?
मिल गया होटल. 4000 पर हेड. और बोलो.
I'm broke. ATM जाना पड़ेगा. अपना हाल ठन ठन गोपाल.
हो गई पेमेंट. लौटा देना है आज से.
मेरी तो भूलने की बीमारी है.
बॉयज पाजी भी आ रहे हैं। ओए तेरी बोलती क्यों बंद है? टीम अनाउंस होनी थी।
पता नहीं फैम इन और आउट।
तू इन। चलो
माही कोई गाना शाना हो जाए।
टीम का डीजे हूँ क्या? ले सुन।
एयरसेल की दुनिया में बहुत कुछ मुमकिन है।
इट्स टाइम टू मूव ऑन। और बोलो।
Welcome back. Now, if you hadn't put your money on India winning their first ever one-day series here, or winning their first test match here in 33 years, you still have your chance to come here and see them win possibly their first ever test series here in over 40 years. But if you're still suffering from doubts because of recession blues, well, here's an offer you can't refuse.
An ad that is the talk of the town these days.
Reclaim your life.
And if you too want to reclaim your life, then why not head to the place where this was shot? New Zealand, of course. So you want to get on to the next flight? Well, here's your chance with this unbelievable offer, which very strategically came out to coincide with India's cricket tour of New Zealand.
And can you imagine seeing a New Zealander, seeing such a phenomenal country at 70,000 rupees? That's something which personally I believe is phenomenal value.
Has it been tough for you to sell this in these recessionary times?
Strangely, no.
Mukesh and Saroj Gupta, both doctors by profession, are one couple who were quick to latch onto this offer. They were actually in New Zealand last year, but at this price, they're only too happy to go again.
I was so excited that I am getting a whole package tour at the cost of an airline.
So it was indeed a very excellent offer, a not to be missed opportunity to travel to a place called New Zealand, which is a paradise on earth, a peaceful, beautiful and the youngest country in the world.
Tourism New Zealand has used the opportunity of the Indian team being in New Zealand for the first time since 2003 to leverage some mileage for itself. The endorsement from the cricketers and indeed from Bollywood stars like Preeti Zinta will certainly help bring in the numbers.
It's still pretty small. We still consider India to be an emerging market for New Zealand. So, for example, for the year ending December, we had about 2.4 million visitors from all over the world into New Zealand, in which about 24,000 is India. So roughly, we are about 1% of the total volume.
Those small numbers are probably because it's 15 hours of flying from India to New Zealand, and usually just the ticket costs about 70,000 rupees rather than the entire package. But if your piggy bank is empty for now, then you can do the next best thing: watch all our New Zealand specials on NDTV and save for your next holiday. With Farhanaz Dastoor, Sonali Chandar and Anjali Doshi, Anusya Mathur for NDTV.
Now, the breathtaking landscapes of New Zealand are well documented, but what is especially unique about this country is the respect and importance it gives to its original inhabitants, the Maoris. The Maori culture is dominant in all aspects of life here, including sport, and we'll show you just how. We're here to cover cricket, but the most popular sport in New Zealand is undoubtedly rugby, and the biggest sports stars in New Zealand are the All Blacks. Now, if any of you have watched a game of rugby, and specifically of the All Blacks, you would have seen them perform the haka, a traditional Maori war cry. It's often described as a very intense experience. Well, today I'm going to learn how to do the haka and perform it for you. Hi, I'm
Kia ora. Kia ora, I'm Tuki. Welcome to Haka World, where we're going to teach you how to perform the famous All Black haka, kamate kamate. That's the war dance.
All right.
So welcome.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Hi.
Hi, kia ora. I'm JB. Traditionally, we perform a haka before we go to war. So it G's ourselves up. And there's two types of haka, one with our weapons and one without our weapons. This is a haka that we perform without a weapon. But the whole haka is about getting ourselves in such a trance that we would go out and we would fight. Okay, so now that we know that, we'll just go through the words as we go, and then we'll add the actions as we go too. Ooh, kamate kamate kaora kaora. Kamate kamate kaora kaora. That's it. So that's the first section of the haka, right? So we're just going to explain the last part of the haka. So it's ahupane, ka upane. Ready?
Ahupane, ka upane.
Ahupane, kopane.
Ahupane, kaupane.
Fititera.
Fititera.
Hey!
Hey!
That's the one. So let's piece it all together. So it's
Ohupane, kohupane. Ohupane, kopane, fititera. Hey!
Well done. Okay, Angelina, now that we have learnt the words and the actions and you're pretty sharp at it, what we're going to do now is go and get changed. I'm going to put moko on your face and then we're going to come back out and perform it. Ready?
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Sounds good. So I'm changed into the traditional haka gear and now I'm going to get some war paint on. So as you can see, I'm now an expert at the haka and ready to give a few lessons of my own with Jaideep Bhandarkar in Rotorua, Anjali Doshi for NDTV. So we decided to save the best for the last for you on this show. It comes close to the scariest thing that we've ever tried, but it's an absolute must-do if you come to New Zealand. I'm standing under the harbour bridge in Auckland. It's a lovely day. You can see all those people fishing there behind me. Well, I'm not here to do something as mundane as fishing. I'm living my dream here in New Zealand. I'm an adventure sport addict. I've already jumped off a building. Now I'm going to climb that bridge and jump straight off it. Out in my Saturday best, adrenaline surging as I make my way up the bridge. So what we're looking onto is the Waitemata Harbour. This is the world's first harbour bridge bungee. It started here in 2003, 6 years ago, by the same company, AJ Hackett, that began the world's first commercial bungee in Queenstown, also in New Zealand, way back in 1988. And now you know why New Zealand is known as the adventure capital of the world. At 40 meters, it's not exactly the highest bungee jump. In fact, the one in Queenstown, where it all began, is 130 meters. That's where Tiger Woods did the bungee. But David Beckham jumped off this very bridge not too long ago. The bridge climb also offers a panoramic view of New Zealand's biggest city. And a chance to catch a glimpse of exactly what I will be doing in a few minutes from now.
Hello Anjali, how are you today?
Good, I was set to go jumping.
Well, welcome to the jump pod.
Well, it's my turn now. When I was about 10, I remember watching a travel show on New Zealand and always wanting to come here ever since I watched that show to do the bungee. So here I am standing on the very edge. And all I can say is that I'm really, really excited. I'm going to go 40 meters down and I'm all set to go jump. Well, I really shouldn't have washed my hair this morning. I didn't need it. I'm soaked now. But I must tell you that the best things in life are over too quickly, and that's exactly what happened with my jump. It makes me want to take the next flight to Queenstown and try another bungee. But I guess I'm just going to have to wait for that. With Jaideep Bhandarkar and Nikhil Naz in Auckland, Anjali Doshi for NDTV. Well, that trip to Queenstown will just have to wait because we're following the Indian cricket team to Napier for the second test. That just about does it for us on the show, but make sure you stay tuned into NDTV for the very latest on the Indian cricket team in New Zealand. Goodbye and thanks so much for watching.
उफ, अब क्या होगा? कितनी कराई थे पानी फिर गया. मैच कैंसिल. कुनूर चले for one night. कितनी दूर है?
5-hour drive. और बोलो.
इतनी जल्दी होटल मिलेगा क्या? ग्रैंडपा का होटल है क्या?
मिल गया होटल. 4000 पर हेड. और बोलो.
I'm broke. ATM जाना पड़ेगा. अपना हाल ठन ठन गोपाल.
हो गई पेमेंट. लौटा देना है आज से.
मेरी तो भूलने की बीमारी है.
बॉयज, पाजी भी आ रहे हैं. ओए, तेरी बोलती क्यों बंद है?
टीम अनाउंस होनी थी. पता नहीं फैम इन और आउट.
तू इन. चलो.
माही कोई गाना शाना हो जाए.
टीम का डीजे हो क्या? ले सुन.
एयरसेल की दुनिया में बहुत कुछ मुमकिन है.
इट्स टाइम टू मूव ऑन. और बोलो.
Get your eyes checked at least.
India Health Card is the first exclusive health cash transfer service, making world-class medical facilities available to NRI families.
क्या बात है? Gift of health from my son.
Visit indiahealthcard.com.
Hey mambo, mambo italiano. Hey mambo, mambo italiano. Go go go.
બધા બાવાજી એવા જ હોય છે.
Hello cheesy DC, you get happy in the pizza when your mambo italiano.
करना है हमको हर ऊंचाइयों को पार, जिसे मानेगा सारा संसार. देश की शान.
रिश्ते पास लाते हैं, रिश्ते जोड़े जाते हैं. रिश्ते
इन्हीं रिश्तों को सुरक्षा देने बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, यूनियन बैंक और डाइची लाइफ जापान साथ आए हैं. स्टार यूनियन डाइची लाइफ इंश्योरेंस. सुनहरा कल, सुरक्षा हर पल.
Papa, am I pretty?
Of course, Peter.
But nobody looks at me. Stupid. Wow, you guys!
Take a look at me now. Take a look at me now. Take a look.
Am I so pretty?
Life gives you what your heart desires. The new Desire from Maruti Suzuki, the heart car.
क्या लगता हूँ तुम?
My angel.
Oh, hot boss. Hot? I'm not hot. You're looking very good today.
Renu, I'm a virgin.
I'm not.
Caught in the wrong job? Log on to monster.com. Our magic search engine finds you the right job.
This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV 24/7.
thank you so much for joining us on this special show this evening where the battle of the ballot and the bails continues. And neither party is backing down, which is why we had a bombshell of an announcement today. The Indian Premier League or the IPL says the disappointing attitude of the governments, particularly some state governments, has forced them to move the tournament abroad. So with just 19 days to go to start the event, that's season 2 of the IPL and the 8 teams now have a logistical nightmare on their hands, and they will decide tomorrow whether they are going to either England or South Africa.
Because of the attitude of the government that we are not